2023 is a brand new year, and because of that, I'm implementing some new things into my business that I want to go over today. If that's how I'm buying, selling, or trading, let's get into it. I have a little problem of vlogging when I'm by myself, and over the last month, I've honestly been traveling to shows by myself or with a couple of my other friends, but I haven't been with my boy Steven, who films most of my stuff. So I haven't been able to document a lot of that. So today I want to go over all the stuff I've been buying, all the stuff I've been selling, all the trades I've been making, why I've been making them, how I'm doing things differently this year. I get a lot of questions about Whatnot, if I'm still doing that, why I'm not doing it, if I'm coming back to it. I want to get into all that stuff today. First thing I want to talk about is Whatnot. I decided that Whatnot is not my path right now. And why is that? I think Whatnot is a great platform for a lot of people, but it takes a lot of time. I think the one thing that people need to realize before going on the Whatnot platform is the amount of prep before the show and the amount of prep after the show. It's a ton of work. So in my opinion, I know that this is just my opinion, this year I want to be more of a wholesaler to people that sell on Whatnot. If that's people that are looking for patches, autos, rookies, all the stuff that I was buying before, I want to buy in even bigger lots, or if I just pick up a lot, I want to sell to people that are selling on Whatnot. I would rather, me personally, buy lots, sell them to people that could sell it on Whatnot, and keep redoing that than buy a lot, sell it on Whatnot, do all the prepping for that, do all the prepping after the show. I don't like that stuff personally. It's not my kind of thing. Secondly, my number one most asked questions whenever I go to a show now, Stack, how's the collection going? How's the million cards going? How's this? It's been a lot. It's been a lot. I have not touched the complete sets at all. Have not touched them at all. So we haven't even gotten to those. I'm still going through all the boxes, probably about, I'd say 70% done with going through the boxes and separating by, this is my base pile that I'm okay with selling out and wholesaling to one person and they get a good deal. And then this is the kind of stuff that I kind of want to look at. This is the stuff that I really want to look at. And this is the stuff that I'll look at some point, but it's not my highest priority at the moment. First big deal of January was the big collection. So we got back, unloaded the collection, and then almost a little under a week later, I went to the Dallas Card Show. And with the Dallas Card Show, I brought a lot of the stuff from that collection in there. But I brought one suitcase full of just bulk stuff. If that's low-end patches and autos, I had low-end immaculate, low-end National Treasure stuff that I just traded out to one person, sold to one person. I got some cash, and I got these two cards as well, or three cards technically. This Kyle Trask, this Riley Green, and this Zion Mosaic Silver, and a little bit of cash on top. Like I said, it was stuff that I was in cheap. I ended up flipping those a couple days later on my story sale. Go check out the Instagram at Stack and Sell. Always throwing up new cards on there. So I was able to churn that inventory a lot faster. I don't know how fast he's going to churn the patches, autos, and all the immaculate stuff. But I looked at it as, all right, I'm probably giving him a lot more value, but at the same time, I'm going to get some quick cash from the collection, and I'm going to bring down my debt. To build off that, I've been trying to make the money back as fast as possible. So I've not been going through boxes every single day. I've probably been going through boxes 2, maybe 3 days a week. The rest of the time is organizing. So I've been pulling out refractors and numbered cards, and then I will organize the refractors in one box, the numbered cards in another box. And then there's a process of gathering stuff. Like I said, I was gathering a lot of vintage, and I gathered a lot of supplies, and I traded some vintage. I think it was like a 4-row full of 60 Topps baseball, and then some supplies, top loaders, sleeves, graded team bags, regular team bags, all that fun stuff. Bundled those both up. It was definitely a little over $2,600 in value, but it was a lot of stuff, and it would have been a lot of work for me. Selling that stuff one by one is not easy. So I traded that 1960 baseball and some of those supplies for this Roberto Clemente PSA 3. Next thing when I went to Dallas, always when I go to Dallas, this is always the first stop, Hit Parade. Shout out Hit Parade. If you're at a show and you're like, man, all these people are selling at 60%, go see Hit Parade. They usually pay between 70 and 85% depending on the quality of your stuff. I ended up making a deal, I want to say around the $2,000 to $3,000 mark. Highest card in there was this Tyrese Maxey PSA 10 out of 5. And then I had another biggish piece in there was this Jalen Hurts rookie auto out of 5. Wish I still had that. But I love seeing Hit Parade. They are always able to cash you out. Always super fair with me. I always tell them, hey, this is what the cards are going for. This is the value of stuff. And then we come to a middle ground. This is where I want to be. This is where they want to be. And then we usually meet in the middle. There was some stuff that Hit Parade did not end up taking. So I walked on over to Pullwax. I'd never worked with Pullwax before. You guys were super nice. Were really honest with me. I really appreciate people that are just transparent, that are like, hey, we're going to want to be at this at 75%. The last comp's 900. This is where we can be. And if we can't be there, they were completely fine. Like, hey, if we can't get there, we can't get there. So I sold them this lot. The main piece in here was this Amon-Ra out of 5, PSA 10, pop 1. I think they were happy with the deal. I was happy with the deal. I got some cash. I bought that Amon-Ra raw and graded it. So thankfully I got a PSA 10. And if you guys have been following the channel for a while, I, in the past, have been preaching trade down, trade down, trade down. And I still think that's a great option. But right now I've got so much excess inventory that I'm trying to trade up, trade up, trade up. So I'm trying to take stuff from the collection, if that's supplies, if that's cards, if that's memorabilia, and I'm trying to trade up into one card where I could either sell that card at 80, 90% or trade it down at 120%. Next up in Dallas, if you guys watched my last Dallas vlog, I picked up for my Josh Allen Black Velocity, I got Anthony Edwards True Orange out of 49. And this thing just took a nosedive the second that I left the Dallas card show. It was probably around a $4,000 to $5,000 card when I traded into it. Maybe a $3,000 card on the low end. Ended up only getting around $1,800 on it. It just kept taking a nosedive with BGS 9.5 comps. I think was like $2,300, $2,400. And I was like, at this point, I'm just going to take my loss. I didn't even take a loss. We made a good profit on the Allen. But I sold that. And I got one Jalen Hurts Optic Contender. And literally right after we closed that deal, I was like, oh, dang. Like, I sold that Ant. I kind of want to go get another one. So I literally walked maybe 10 steps. There was a guy with an Optic Pink out of 25 Anthony Edwards. I'll throw it right here. Sweet card. It sucked that it was in that authentic slab. I was like, maybe we have a chance at cracking it. Maybe I get a BGS 9, BGS 9.5 on it. Looked at it. There was no chance at it. But I traded that Jalen Hurts that I just picked up in the deal before and some other stuff. The last comp on it was like $1,600, but that was in October. And I had explained to the guy that we were doing the deal with, like, hey, the last comp's in October. I literally just sold an Ant-Man that was comping at $4,000, $3,000 in October. But this stuff is just taking a big beating. We met in the middle, or we met at, I think, like $1,200 value. I ended up selling it a couple weeks later at like $1,250 cash. So everybody won. I was happy. He was happy. He got rid of the Ant that he'd been sitting on for a while. Because we were in Dallas, that same exact night, the Jags-Chargers game was going on. So right after we make that Ant deal, walk right into the side room, watch the game. After watching the game, Trevor Lawrence was balling, and I'm like, all right, let's go find some Trevor Lawrence. So I ended up picking up these two T-Laws. One was out of 15 or out of 25, the auto, and then the pink swirl is numbered to 11. Ended up selling the auto the next day for $450. I was in the other one at $650. So I was in the pink swirl at $650. Ended up sending it to BGS, just trying to get that 9.5. If not, cool. I'll take back a BGS 9 that I'm in at $600 at. If y'all do remember, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I picked up this Jordan auto. Been trying to shop it around. I've had no success. It is a UNC auto. Ended up making a deal with Terrence. Y'all probably know him, Terrence. Great guy in the hobby. I usually trade down a lot with him. I got a bunch of pieces. Some stuff that I sent to grading, some stuff that I just sold right away, some stuff that I even brought to Hit Parade and sold to them as well. But I was happy to trade out of the Jordan. He was happy. He said he's got like over 70 Jordan autos. So he was happy. I was happy. Everyone's happy. Then after that, I flew home. Literally the day after I came back from the Dallas Card Show, My friend Austin hit me up. He's like, hey, I've got a lot that I'm looking to sell. Picked up some Fields, picked up some Herbert, Anthony Edwards, bunch of good names in there. Really appreciate him for that. Took a lot of that stuff, sold a lot of it on my story, traded some of it. Ended up taking a lot of it to another one of our local shows, the Schaumburg Card Show. And there, I sold a lot of that stuff there, but I ended up picking up this Joe Burrow. Was a PSA 9 tie-dye, which was looking like a really, really good card at the time. I thought it had a chance at a 9.5, cracked it. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I don't think it's going to 9.5. I think it's going to 9. So I was like, you know what? I'll end up trading it out. I ended up trading it in another deal that I'll get into in a little bit. Also that day, though, I picked up this Fields Glove RPA, traded out a Franz, an Anthony auto, and a Lauri Markkanen gold, and a little bit of cash on top. I think like 200 to 300. I'd have to check my spreadsheet, but felt like that was a really good deal. Fields moves really, really well for me locally here. Always have people asking for them, and I'm even picking up another one today. But I thought that it was good for both parties. He was like, I got into it at a really good value, and I don't mind trading it out for guys like Franz and Anthony Edwards and Lauri Markkanen. Like I said before, I had picked up in trade that Justin Fields glove patch card, and I ended up making a deal with someone at a Portillo's actually here locally. I'll throw up the picture of the cards that I got in here. I got a out of 99. This was before the playoff game that clinched the Super Bowl. I don't know when this is going to come out, but an out of 99 PSA 10 of Jalen Hurts auto and a PSA 10 hollow of Jason Tatum. We both felt like the values were really fair at the time. I still think that the values were pretty fair. The swoosh on the Fields boosts the value a little bit more in value. Ended up selling the Tatum, I think, for cash on my story, and then traded the Hurts the next day for an Elly De La Cruz first Bowman refractor out of 499 SGC 1010 that I'll throw up right here. The same day that I ended up trading for that Elly, I bought online a Daniel Jones Kaboom PSA 10, and I posted both of those on my story that I had both of them incoming and that they'll be in hand soon. And what I did, after I got the Daniel Jones Kaboom in hand, the PSA 10, I posted that up, and the Elly De La Cruz, thankfully, someone hit me up and said, hey, I've got some high-end Fields available. I'm like, what you got? So I showed them those two cards, the Daniel Jones. I added in a good amount of cash. I'll say north of 1,500. I'm not going to give the exact amount. But those two cards, north of 1,500 in cash, I ended up getting this PSA 10 gold out of 10 of Justin Fields, Pop 1. This card did comp at 3K earlier this year, or late last year, but I really, really do believe in Fields, and I think that I could trade out of this at a pretty good number. Hopefully that card comes in today. 2 weeks ago, I ended up heading up to the Madison Card Show. I've had a lot of success there. Really, really good dealers because I just know a lot of them. I've either met at other shows in Wisconsin, or a lot of them come down to the shows in Illinois as well. And someone that watched my videos ended up stumbling across, he had a Mac Jones gold Kaboom. I ended up making a trade, just trading for that Kaboom, gave him a little bit of cash on top. But a lot of that was just stuff that I was in at really, really cheap, that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm giving up a lot in value, but at the same time, like, when I'm in something at cheap and I'm getting something that I think that I can move for cash pretty quick, I'll always take that deal. And moving that thing quick is what I did. Literally had it up for maybe 3-4 days. The last comp was 3,500. Moved it for a little bit less than that, not much less. He was happy. I was happy that I moved it at a good number, that he's still going to be able to make money on it. I was surprised, like, that last comp at 35, I'd said in a reel earlier, the PSA 10 of that thing last year did 57K. Do I think that card is going to go anywhere close, like in a PSA 9, get close to like 10K again? No. But I think it's got a good chance of going back up to 5, maybe 6, if they could actually get their offense in order this year, but we'll see.